Well, hello all. I have returned from my post-Mania break. Yeah, I've been busy the last couple of weeks getting stuff at work done and then preparing for future videos, namely my kaiju movie reviews and like a tribute video to He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, something that I'm working on. Those videos probably won't be coming until like a few months down the road. I just wanted to do some prep work on them over the next couple weeks, because I don't know when I'm going to have time. I'm actually taking a vacation up to Maine in June, so I'll be gone from like the end of June to like through July 4th weekend. So I'll be gone for a good 2 weeks there, but so I wanted to make sure I got that prep work out of the way now, so I wouldn't have to worry about it later. But yeah, the kaiju movie reviews, for those of you that care about those, just to let you know, my current list of reviews, I had originally stated that I wasn't going to be completely comprehensive. I'm not going to review every kaiju movie made under the sun. I have no intention of doing that. My current list of reviews is at 46. That's I like spent time. It's like, all right, I gotta get this one. I gotta get that one. Gotta get this one. Gotta get that one. And then as it turns out, my list was, even after narrowing it down, my list is still pretty long. So, yeah, obviously it's going to be broken out into multiple parts, much like the Godzilla movie reviews, and probably not going to get through them all in 2017. So there might be some pushback over to 2018 for some of those. But good news, some of them, because I do want to rewatch them again just to get a fresh perspective on some of these movies. Some of them I haven't seen in years, like since I was 8 or 9. Mystery Science Theater made its grand return to Netflix. And lucky for me, I looked at the list of episodes that are included in the new season. Some of them are, two in particular, are two of the movies that I planned on reviewing, so I can kill two birds with one stone. I can rewatch Reptilicus and Young Gary, which are two of the movies I was going to review. I can watch them again while also experiencing the new season of Mystery Science Theater. So hopefully the new season's good. I've heard good things. I mean, it's Mystery Science Theater. I'm gonna watch it regardless. The only negative I've heard is that Tom Servo's voice doesn't sound right, but you know, that was kind of unexpected. It's like Samurai Jack. You can't replace Mako as the voice of Aku, and the new guy's not bad. It's just that he's not Mako, and it's a noticeable difference, but it's a concession that I have to make, and it's fine. And the rest of the season's great regardless. So so yeah, I'm doing a lot of that work. But a lot of stuff has happened in the world of wrestling since I've taken my short hiatus. We've had the Superstar Shakeup. We have a new #1 contender to the WWE title. We've got a pay-per-view coming up. New Japan had a big pay-per-view. Shibata's career might unfortunately be over. We have the JBL Mauro Ranallo situation. TNA, or I'm sorry, Impact Wrestling and Global Force Wrestling have officially merged, which... whatever. Not a whole lot to say there, but yeah, so a lot of stuff has been going on in the world of wrestling, and let's start off with the show review. Let's start off with New Japan Sakura Genesis, which I thought was a good show. My major problem with it is that there were a few too many tag matches. I know some of them were title matches. You know, War Machine won the IWGP Tag Team titles in a pretty good match. You know, the Never Open Weight 6-man tag was on the line. The IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag titles were on the line. Jado and Gato challenging Suzuki Gun. Thankfully, it wasn't Young Bucks versus Roppongi Vice for the 900th time. We actually got a different match for once. And I'm not saying, you know, the matches were fine individually. It's just that there were a few too many tag matches. I mean, even after intermission, the first match after intermission was a tag match. I was like, oh my god, there's way too many tag matches on this show. But, as far as singles matches go, I thought Zack Sabre Jr. and Goto had a good match for the Never Openweight title. Zack Sabre Jr., he's a great talent. He just doesn't quite fit the mold of what I expect to see in a Never Openweight match, because I've kind of gotten used to, like, okay, those are the matches where they're stiff and beat the shit out of each other. And Zack Sabre Jr., I think of him as a, you know, you think of him as a junior heavyweight. He's not like a Shibata, or like Tomohiro Ishii, or Togi Makabe, those type of guys that are just, you know, beat the shit out of you. Yeah, Zack Sabre Jr. just doesn't quite fit into that mold, but the match they had was pretty good, so I'm not going to rag on it too much. And it looks like we're getting Goto versus Minoru Suzuki for the title, which that'll be interesting. We're also likely to get Tetsuya Naito versus Juice Robinson for the Intercontinental title. I'm like, okay, that's an interesting choice. I mean, Tetsuya Naito's not dropping the belt to him, right? I mean, that would just be weird. Not knocking on Juice. I just don't see him as being like on that level with Naito. But what can you do? Do you want to talk about the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship match, which only went about 2 minutes, maybe less? Takahashi defeated Kushida in a very quick match. Anybody who saw the match that they had at Wrestle Kingdom saw a really good match. This one was the exact opposite. It was like they Goldberg-Lesnar did. I was fine with it. I'm fine with it whenever they do this type of thing once in a while, just to kind of establish somebody as a killer. And, you know, it's like any other sport. You need your squash match football games, you know. It happens once in a while. You need your shutouts. You need your squash matches and those type of things, just to kind of break up the monotony a little bit of just having the same matches over and over and over again, or the same type of matches over and over again. So I was fine with this here, even with the lack of singles matches on the show. And it looks like we're going to be getting Ricochet challenging for the Junior Heavyweight title, which is great. The Junior Heavyweight division is actually in really good shape right now. When you look at Kushida, Ricochet, Will Ospreay, Zack Sabre Jr., they've got so many guys that are really just pitch perfect for title contention. It's just a matter of, all right, who do you want to go with? You look at the WWE's Cruiserweight division right now. It's like, all right, you've got Neville, who's great, and he should absolutely be the champion. You've got Aries, who's kind of like the 1A guy, next step down. And then you got a few other guys that are good, but haven't quite broken through onto that, like, Neville level. Haven't quite gotten there. Like Jack Gallagher or Akira Tozawa, and you've got Brian Kendrick, who's feels like he's there to just make the younger guys look really good, which he's done really well. But I don't know. I think New Japan's list of junior heavyweight, cruiserweight style talents, it's like, man, they got a handful of really good guys there. That's awesome. And then we had the main event, which was a bittersweet match for a lot of reasons. Kazuchika Okada challenging, Shibata challenging Okada for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Fantastic match. I said at the start of the year when I saw Wrestle Kingdom and I saw that Okada Omega match, I was like, I would be shocked if there's a match that beats it out for match of the year, because that match was amazing. This match didn't beat it, but it was much closer to that level than I would have expected. And it was a very simple situation where the fans clearly wanted Shibata to win. He'd just been built up to this point. He won the New Japan Cup. He'd been never openweight champion. And he was just being built up to this position, and fans were just legitimately excited to see him potentially win the title. So Okada kind of played the heel here a little bit, and it's one of those things that WWE doesn't quite get, where, look, if the fans want somebody, don't try and work against the grain. It's kind of like that Daniel Bryan-Roman Reigns match that they had, where they had Reigns play the face fighting from underneath, and I'm like, guys, they're going to cheer Daniel Bryan over him. You don't want to tell that story. That's not going to work. I mean, come on. Again, if you look at someone like Naito and how they've managed to turn him around, I mean, that's the blueprint for fixing Roman Reigns right there. And I actually want to do a video about that, talking about faces that get booed and heels that get cheered and that type of thing. That might be my next major video. Yeah, so I like that they kind of played to Okada being the heel here just to let Shibata be that underdog babyface. And they had a knockdown, drag-out match that was quite honestly awesome, and you got a lot of like hard shots and hard hits and a headbutt that unfortunately caused problems later, but we'll get there. And then you had that one moment where Okada hit the Rainmaker, which that's one of those finishers that typically equals death, unless it's like a big match like at a Wrestle Kingdom. Typically he wins with that move, and you don't see a whole lot of people kick out of it, and the ones that do are like in the top tier class, like the Nakamura's, the Tanahashi's, the AJ's, those type of guys. Shibata fucking no-sold it, which was like, and I don't have a problem with no-selling if it's done right, and if the time is right, and if it's handled well. And this was one of those cases where it was awesome, because it was like, Shibata's just one of those guys that takes hard shots and gives hard shots, so him being able to no-sell the Rainmaker actually kind of made sense. And it was like one of those cool, like, Sting or Goldberg or Undertaker or Hogan type of, like, superhero moments, and it just looked awesome when he did it. And, yeah, very, very enjoyable match. Went, like, I think 40 minutes. It felt like 15. It was so enjoyable. It just went by so fast. Outstanding main event. Really established Shibata as like a top level star, put him up on that main event level, and then the news comes out that he was experiencing like a lack of feeling in his body after the match. He was dehydrated. He took a couple of hard shots, and the idea was that it was the headbutt out of the Rainmaker that did it. And unfortunately, it seems very unlikely that he's ever going to wrestle again. And as someone said, look, if New Japan and doctors over there are saying they're not going to clear him to wrestle, then you know it's bad, because Japan's very, like, you know, Japanese wrestling, they're very tough. And, you know, you go, even if you're missing a limb, type of style. So if, you know, doctors over there are saying it's unlikely that he's going to get cleared again, you know, it must really be bad. I've heard some people speculate that this is an angle. I mean, I don't know for sure. I mean, again, there were some issues with the language barrier, so I don't know all the details and everything. But for right now, I'm treating it as if it's really happening. I hope it's an angle. I hope it's not real. I want Shibata to come back and keep wrestling. But yeah, it's if this is the end of his career, it's really a shame, because he was, I mean, this was the match that put him on the map. I mean, even in defeat, I mean, this was the match that, like, made him a main event star, and it's like, all right, he's gonna win that title at some point, maybe at the next Wrestle Kingdom, and goddamn, if they can get a Okada-Shibata rematch at the Tokyo Dome next year, I'm all for it, but nope. So for right now, it's just sad. Always sad when something like that happens, especially to a very talented guy like Shibata. You know, like a Daniel Bryan or like an Edge, these guys that are forced into retirement. But again, it also kind of leads credence to that whole idea that, you know, maybe you don't have to constantly throw your body at the ground with this high-impact style. You know, there are times to kind of take it easy. It's moments like this that make you look at somebody like Miz, and it's like, yeah, I mean, you can say he's soft or whatever, but Miz doesn't get hurt. It's like you can mock Hogan, but Hogan's still able to work, you know, back in his heyday. It's like Hogan never really got hurt, or at least not to the point where he couldn't perform, and he wasn't expected to do much, so he was able to do that. And it's an unfortunate situation. I really like Shibata, and I thought the match he had with Okada was amazing. So if this is the end of his career, it's really sad, but what can you do? So that was Sakura Genesis. Like I said, main event was awesome. Rest of the show, pretty, you know, solid to good. Not a whole lot of standout stuff, but a solid show overall. And moving right along from there, I guess we can talk about WWE. I guess I'll start with NXT. I really like the Ty Dillinger-Eric Young cage match from this week's NXT. It was like a good old school type of cage match. Probably had a little bit more interference than I would have liked, but it wasn't like to the nth degree like a lot of other cage matches have become. It's not like some of the, like the Cena Ziggler one. Like, that's become my prime example of like cage matches that piss me off. But most like WWE standard cage matches kind of suck now, so to see one that was pretty good was actually nice to see. And it was a nice farewell, nice send-off for Ty heading off to the main roster. So overall, good match. Liked it. And in NXT, they're starting to like build up the roster and get some guys that can really help them out and flesh out the roster. Drew McIntyre did really well in his debut. Oh, who's that guy? Oney Lorcan. I thought they had like a really stiff, hard-hitting match that made Drew look like a star. So I think he's going to be good over there. Aleister Black had a squash match last week that did much better job of establishing him than the match that he had at TakeOver. I thought this match did a lot better at like making him look like, okay, this guy's pretty awesome. Again, squash matches are more effective at making guys look like stars. And then when you actually do have the competitive matches, it means more. Just saying. I'm just saying. Squash matches are valuable. So yeah, NXT, it's actually looking like they're building up the roster a little bit, which is good, because Rude needs somebody to work with. With Ty gone and his top opponent being Cassius Ohno, It's like, yeah, oh no, indeed. It's like, no, he needs somebody like a Drew McIntyre, or if Aleister Black catches on, more power to him. But yeah, so last couple weeks of NXT, solid shows. We'll see how it goes from there. And then the big stuff on the main roster, we've got the Superstar Shakeup, which has affected the last couple of weeks of programming. Honestly, I don't think either show has been that great since the shakeup. I don't know if they're still trying to find themselves, or it's still just in a planning phase or whatever. But it's just, neither show's really setting the world on fire for me. The best thing that Raw is doing right now is making Braun Strowman look like a fucking beast. That beatdown on Roman Reigns was awesome. And then the other thing that Strowman did that was great was when they broke the ring at the end of Raw this week in his match against Big Show. Although those of us that are older, we remember when Lesnar did it with Big Show and when Mark Henry did it with Big Show. So this isn't the first time they've done this. But the one thing they did with Strowman that kind of set it apart a little bit was he was standing tall at the end, and it made him look like even more of a monster, that he actually, it didn't take him out, that he broke the ring with Big Show's body or whatever. So, yeah, Strowman continues to look really good. The rest of the show, just not really capturing my attention. Miz and Ambrose had a pretty good promo this week. That's about it. Everything else is just kind of just there to me. But we'll see. Again, they're still in like the early resetting stage after WrestleMania, so we'll see how it goes moving forward. Then on SmackDown, two major things I'm going to criticize. Well, one good thing, I like that Nakamura's over there. I think he's a better fit over on SmackDown. I think he's much needed star power for them over there. So, and he's going to give him a different identity that a lot of other guys on the roster aren't going to be able to provide. So I think Nakamura's a good fit over there. Other than that, two major things I'm going to criticize about SmackDown right now. Number one, why are we building up our heels based on whether or not, on the fact that they're not, in Jinder's case, it's because he's not white. And in Kevin Owens' case, it's because he's not American. And it's just one of those things where I look back and it's like, what the fuck? What fucking year is this? And Kevin Owens, his whole heat is that I'm the U.S. champion, but I'm not American, so fuck you. And I'm like, I don't care. I don't give a fuck if he's not American. What the hell? It's just, what fucking year is this? And to me, it feels beneath Kevin Owens to turn him into like a Nikolai Volkov type just because he's not American and he's the U.S. champion. It's like, that is so trite and so silly. And, I don't like, and again, Jinder Mahal, same thing. It's like, you don't like me because I'm not white, so fuck you. And it's like, really? That's the best they could come up with? I don't get it. And the other thing I'm going to criticize is that at the U.S. title level, you have Kevin Owens and AJ Styles feuding. At the WWE title level, you had a contenders match that included Mojo Rawley, Eric Rowan. I think, was Mojo in that match? I'm pretty sure Mojo was in that match. Jinder Mahal, and even Sami Zayn, who was in there, and like, Sami is nowhere near the way he's been booked. He should be nowhere near like close to WWE title contention, just based on the level of credibility that they have not given him. And I'm like, okay, I feel like that should almost be switched. But the other thing about that is that the winner of the match was Jinder Mahal. And it's just another case of WWE just deciding, yeah, we haven't done anything with this guy. We haven't built him up. We've made him a jobber, actually. But he's going to be number one contender now because fuck you. And I hate that. I hate it whenever they do that. They make a guy look like shit, and then out of nowhere, I'm supposed to care when they become world title contender worthy. And it's like, guys, you did it with JBL. You did it with Swagger. You did it with Sheamus. Stop it. It's fucking stupid. It's just, could you at least build the guy up for 6 months? Because this is why we get so, like, we get so resistant to accepting this guy as a world title contender or as, or as, even as champion. And no, I would not be surprised if Jinder Mahal actually won the belt because WWE has done this shit before. So when is the, like, well, they can't put the belt on him. He's been a jobber for 2 years. It's like, well, fuck it. I mean, what the fuck? Again, JBL, Sheamus, Swagger, they're used to taking losers or unknowns and just putting the belt on them because fuck you, that's why. And my whole thing is, look, I'm not saying Jinder Mahal is a piece of shit, although, you know, he did give Finn Balor a concussion, almost took his head off, but, I mean, that should be a couple strikes against him, but, you know, they booked him in a way to convince me that that character is a loser, and now, all of a sudden, I'm supposed to care. No. Like, why do I have to fill in the blanks? Why do I have to connect the dots? Why do I, as the audience, have to make up the middle of your story in my mind to make this shit make sense? I hate it when they do this. It's like, look, you have a beginning. Jinder Mahal is a piece of shit, shitball, jobber type, and your end game is to get him to world title main event level. There's no middle. There's just no fucking middle. Just give me a goddamn middle so I can at least appreciate the character's journey to get to that level. And it's just annoying to me whenever they do it, but there's nothing. That's one of those things where WWE is a victim of their own success, because they really do feel like they can do whatever the hell they want. They can push anybody they want, they can put the belt on anybody they want, and it doesn't matter. And I'm like, look, I'm a big fan of Tyler Breeze. If you know me, and you watched any of my reviews of like the TakeOver specials when Tyler Breeze was around and at his best, and he was having those matches with Sami Zayn and Hideo Itami and Finn Balor, you know, Hideo Itami also came back this week on NXT. That's pretty cool. Hopefully he doesn't get hurt again. But, yeah, it's, you look at the type of work that Tyler was doing back then, it was really good stuff. And I felt like he had a grasp on his character. He was playing it to the hilt. Doing really well. Actually, I remember making a comment at the time, of all the guys on the roster, he's the most TV ready right now. From his promos to his character work to how he wrestles. His matches were damn good. So there's nothing wrong with him. I'm like, why is he in developmental? I'm like, fuck, this guy should be on TV. And then they moved him up to the main roster, made him a jobber, and now he's stuck in this tag team with Fandango, another guy that got fucked over after getting moved up to the main roster. I mean, of course, Fandango's biggest problem was that the theme song got over, and then they decided to stop actually trying. But, so yeah, I'm a big fan of Tyler Breeze. You give me the book, my first impulse would not be to make Tyler Breeze world champion 3 weeks from now. I'd be like, no, you've done so much damage, and the fans think of him as a joke, and nobody takes him seriously. You've got to build him up. I need at least 6 months to fix what you've done, to get him back up to that point, and then we can talk about getting a world title on him. But I need 6 months to fix him. I need promo time. I need a feud, a couple of feuds. I need matches. I need potentially, you know, maybe at around the 4-month part, get him to IC title level or US title level or whatever. Maybe, I think, isn't he light enough to be a cruiserweight? Couldn't he be in the cruiserweight division too? I don't know. Like, he's under 200, isn't he? But anyway, you know, that's what my mindset would be if I wanted to get somebody up to that point. And I've heard the excuse with Jinder is that WWE wants to appeal to their India audience and have a star for the India crowd. Now, why he's a heel, I don't know. If you want him to be a star, maybe they're going for the Bret Hart thing, where it's like he'll be a heel in America, but everywhere else around the world he'll be a babyface. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the ultimate end game here is with this, but I'm like, okay, that's fine. That's a business related reason. Okay, sure. If I'm the writer, I would say give me 6 months to get him up to that point, because I can't, based on what you've done with him now, I can't believably write or push him as WWE champion. I need 6 months to get him up to that point, and that's just, you know, one of those things that the WWE does, and it just irritates the holy hell out of me. I hated it when TNA did it with Eric Young. It's like, look, nothing against Eric Young. I like Eric Young, but how do you go from comedy, low-level comedy act to world champion in less than a week? That doesn't work. And yes, I know they did it just to piggyback off the Daniel Bryan title win, which, fuck you, that's even worse. But that's my whole thing. And it's a problem. It's a booking thing that I can't stand. And there's nothing I can do about it. They're going to do whatever they want, so who cares? It's like, you didn't care. I don't even care. Who cares? Fuck it. And I guess the last thing to really talk about is the JBL Mauro Ranallo situation. Mauro Ranallo, who is no longer the announcer for SmackDown Live, and apparently the reasoning is that he was being bullied by JBL, and he's got Mauro has bipolar disorder, which caused a lot of anxiety issues with him, and they just couldn't coexist. I don't know if there's been speculation that Vince was giving him a hard time. Mauro was giving Mauro a hard time and was using JBL as a tool to kind of get to him, or like I don't know exactly what the situation is. I wouldn't be surprised if it was true based on JBL's history. We all know about the Blue Meanie incident. We all know about the Joey Styles punching him in the face because he couldn't take it anymore. Justin Roberts, is that his name? The guy that just released a book detailing some of his experiences with JBL. And it's like, JBL strikes me as one of those guys that never got out of that frat boy mentality, and is just, he's a bully. And there's also been situations with Amy Weber, Palmer Cannon, who, I mean, fuck, they had a plan for Palmer Cannon on TV. He was the representative of the network, and we all noticed, I'm like, this guy's big. Is he actually a worker? And, they were going to do something with that, but he just couldn't deal with JBL. And again, I don't know all the details. I don't know what the situation is exactly. I don't know all the particulars, so I don't want to be the guy that says this guy should be fired or anything like that. I'm not backstage. I don't know what goes on. This is all secondhand material being presented to me. I just think it speaks to that WWE kind of clubhouse mentality that you see sometimes, where you do get ribbing gone too far, and you got to toughen the guys up, and all that other weird clubhouse archaic silliness. I think it really is just silly. I'm not saying that if I was in the same situation as Mauro, which I don't have bipolar disorder, but if I was in that same situation, I would probably I like to think of myself as a pretty even-tempered guy. If it got really bad, I probably would have turned into Joey Styles and just punched him in his face at some point. But it's that type of stuff that just I don't know. It's like, you would think after the Bill DeMott situation that they probably would have eased up on that type of stuff. Because, I've heard Dave Meltzer talk about it too, where it's like everything that JBL does, it comes from Vince. And the higher-ups, that whether it's they want to get at somebody or they want to toughen guys up or whatever. I don't know why you would want to toughen up an announcer. Again, I don't know all the details about what's going on here, but it's... when you're involved in anti-bully campaigns, I wouldn't want this type of press. So WWE is probably going to have to respond to this at some point. It'll be interesting. We'll see how it goes. It'll be weird and fun. But that is all I have for you now. I'm going to be working on a couple other videos this week. I have my next classic match review. The poll for that will be up on Twitter today. Actually, if I time it right, the poll will be up on Twitter before you see this video, because I got to do some production work on this sucker. But also, my next Star Wars review is coming out. It's a big one, so I wanted to knock that out as well. It'll be fun. I'm looking forward to doing that particular review. It's going to be a big one. But like I said, got a lot of projects coming up. I've even started thinking about what to do for next year's WrestleMania, because I didn't do a WrestleMania series this year, and I've got an idea of what I want to do. So, but that'll be way down the road as we get closer to WrestleMania 34. But for right now, that is all I have. Y'all enjoy the rest of what's left of your weekend, and until then, I will see you all later.